You might look calm and capable, like you've got everything together, but inside you feel anxious, on edge, or just like you can't fully relax. And the confusing part is there's no obvious reason for it. Nothing is technically wrong, but something still just feels off. Now, you can look like you have everything together and still feel anxious every single day. And that's what makes this so confusing, because from the outside, your life might look completely fine. You're functioning, you're coping, you're doing what you need to do. But internally, it feels very, very different. There's this underlying tension, like your body just cannot fully relax, and you start to question it. Why do I feel like this when nothing is actually wrong? And this is something a lot of people don't talk about, because when you're still achieving, still showing up, still managing everything, it's very easy to dismiss how you feel internally. You might tell yourself, like, I'm fine, this is normal, or everyone feels like this sometimes. But often this constant low-level tension in the background, like your body never fully switches off. And over time, that just becomes your baseline. Now, this is what I call high functioning anxiety, and it often shows up in people who are actually doing really well on the outside. You're the one people rely on, you're responsible, capable, you get things done. You might have a really successful career, a family, a full life, and from the outside, it looks like you are handling everything. But internally, it feels very, very different. And there's this constant sense of pressure, like there's always something you should be doing. And then even in moments where you could relax, it just doesn't feel like you can. If nothing is wrong in your life but you still feel anxious, this is why. It's not about what's happening around you right now. It's about what your system has learned over time. And if your body is used to being in a constant state of pressure, alertness, or constant doing, that becomes your baseline. So even when things are calm, your body doesn't feel safe enough to let you relax. Now, the first sign of high functioning anxiety is that you cannot switch off your mind, even when you're absolutely exhausted. You lie in bed at night, your body is tired, but your mind is still going, replaying things, thinking about all the things you need to do tomorrow, going over conversations again and again. And it's not like you're choosing to think about these things, it just happens. If your mind won't switch off at night, it's not just overthinking. What's actually happening is your body is still in a state of alert. And when your body feels alert, your brain will keep producing thoughts to match that state. So it's not just your mind that's the problem, it's your system that hasn't fully come out of that on mode. And that's why if you just try to stop thinking, it usually doesn't work. And this is why it can feel so frustrating, because your body is absolutely exhausted and your mind will just not let you rest. The second sign that you have high functioning anxiety is that you feel guilty when you rest. So you finally sit down, you stop, and instead of relaxing, there's this underlying feeling like you should be doing something else, like you haven't quite done enough, you haven't quite earned the right to switch off yet. So if you feel guilty when you rest, there's usually a deeper pattern underneath that, because for a lot of people, being productive becomes linked to feeling safe or feeling enough. So when you stop, it's not just physical stillness, it can bring up discomfort, and your mind tries to pull you back into doing, because that's what feels more familiar. And a lot of the time, this pattern starts earlier than people realise, where being busy, achieving or doing more became tied to how you felt about yourself, usually in your childhood, especially if you were praised for your achievements by your parents. The third sign is that you overthink interactions. So you might leave a conversation and feel completely fine in the moment, and then later it comes back. If you replay conversations in your head for hours, this is what is actually happening. Your mind is trying to create certainty. It's scanning for anything that might have gone wrong, so you can avoid that feeling again in the future. But the problem is it never really finds certainty, so it just keeps looping and looping. And even though you know you're overthinking, you just cannot seem to switch it off. You might find yourself thinking, why did I say that? Or did that sound weird? Or did I come across wrong? even when nothing bad actually happened. The fourth sign that you have high functioning anxiety is that you feel pressure even when nothing is wrong. So there's no immediate problem, there's nothing urgent that needs your attention, but your body still feels tense, like it's just waiting for something. If you feel pressure even when nothing is wrong, this is where it's coming from. Your body has learned to stay in a state of readiness. So even when your environment is calm, your internal state isn't. And that's why it feels so confusing, because logically everything is fine, but your body doesn't feel that way. This is one of the biggest reasons why people feel stuck, because they try to fix it logically, but the experience is happening physically. The fifth sign is that you rely on being productive to feel okay. So when you're busy, when you're focused, you're getting things done, you feel more in control, more settled. If you only feel okay when you're being productive, this is the pattern that is keeping you stuck, because productivity becomes a way of regulating how you feel. When you're doing things, achieving things, moving forward, you feel more in control. But the moment things slow down, that uncomfortable feeling starts to come back. So you keep yourself busy, you keep yourself distracted, not because you've got more to do, but because it helps you avoid that feeling. And over time, that becomes automatic. So what's actually going on here? This isn't just stress, it's not just overthinking. Your mind isn't the problem. It's responding to the state that your body is in. So if your body feels tense, alert, or on edge, your mind will generate thoughts that match that. So trying to fix this just by thinking differently can only go so far, because the real shift happens when you change the state underneath. And again, this is why it feels so confusing, because you look at your life and you think nothing is wrong. So why do I feel this way? But it is not about your current situation. It's about the patterns your system has been running for a really long time. And the shift doesn't happen just by thinking differently. It happens when you start working with your body, working with your nervous system, and working with your subconscious. If you want to actually experience what it feels like to shift out of this state, I've created a 10-minute guided reset using your breath and visualization, and it's designed to just help you feel calm and confident in the moment. You can find it in the description. And once you start to feel that shift, everything else becomes a lot easier to change. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.